is Apple's new 11-inch iPad Air with the M3 chip. I went for the 256GB version in space gray here. And just so you know, this video is not sponsored, I'm simply sharing my own impressions. In this video I will test its performance, do some gaming, check the cameras here and see how it handles apps like DaVinci Resolve and Photoshop. I will also share what it's like to use day to day and why I didn't go with the iPad Pro. If you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. So let's dive right in. Alright, this is the iPad Air 2025 edition, and specifically it's the iPad Air 11-inch with the M3 processor, just the Wi-Fi edition with 256GB, and I decided to go with the space gray version, as you can see here. And here we can see immediately the iPad, but before that let's check the accessories. I think there should be only some kind of iPad Air technical specification sheet, and then you have the user manual in several languages. Here we have it in German, so you can see here a quick start guide how to use the iPad Air. Alright, so this is the user manual, and then for sure you have an USB-C to USB-C cable, so this is quite the standard nowadays. Basically that's it, nothing more in it. Unfortunately no charger. You can see I have here one from an older iPad, so I will use this for this one as well. So let's have a brief look on the iPad itself. So let's open it here. You can see immediately the Apple logo here and also the camera. And here you see this is the space gray version, so it looks very nice. Okay, so on the back we have the camera, it's just one. You have the Apple logo as well, and here you have the pins. You can connect the iPad also to the Magic Keyboard. And in comparison to older iPads, there is no iPad Air printing on it, so the name is not here anymore. So on the bottom you have the USB-C port where you can charge or do data transfer with it, plug in an external hard drive. Here you have the openings for the speakers, so there are only two speakers, but there are still two openings on that side. And the same you have on the other side, plus the on-off button here, which also includes the fingerprint that you unlock your iPad. Okay, on the left side there is nothing, so it's very clean. And on the right side you still have the same buttons as we are used to, so you have the volume buttons, and here you have the magnetic connector for the Apple Pencil. So this supports the Apple Pencil Pro, also the Apple Pencil USB-C, but with the USB-C version you cannot charge the Pencil, you have to connect it to an external USB-C charger. Alright, and on the front side there is nothing special here, you have here simply the display, but the only thing, I don't know if you can see it here, hopefully there is the webcam. It's built now here on the top, and it also can track your face. Alright, that's it. So I would say let's boot it up and you will see this nice LCD display. It's not an OLED display, but I would say let's go into the technical details in a moment. So after unboxing, it's clear the design hasn't really changed, but the big story is under the hood. The new M3 chip brings serious upgrades, more CPU power and a stronger GPU, and even advanced features like hardware accelerated ray tracing, the kind of stuff you would normally see on a Mac. Apple claims up to 30% faster CPU performance and 40% better graphics than the last iPad Air. Sounds impressive, right? But what does this actually mean for us? In practice it means app launch faster, multitasking feels smoother, creative tools like DaVinci Resolve or Photoshop can handle heavier projects, and games not only run better, they can look more realistic than ever. All in all, a thin and lightweight device you can take anywhere. Externally, not much has changed, and honestly that's okay. The design is still sleek and feels very premium. I went with the space gray because it just looks clean and professional. The 11-inch liquid retina display here comes in a 2360 by 1640 pixel, supports P3 color and true tone, hits up to 500 nits of brightness, and it's laminated with an anti-reflective coating, which really helps for watching content or sketching. The one downside, it's still limited to 60 Hz. So if you ever use the ProMotion display, you will definitely notice the difference. But for most people, this screen is still fantastic. I went with the 256GB model because 128 just isn't enough for my workflow. If you edit videos, work with larger files, or just want more breathing room, 256 is really the sweet spot, without jumping all the way to 512 or 1 TB. And when I do need more for larger projects, I can simply connect an external SSD via USB-C, which works seamlessly. I chose the Wi-Fi only version, but the good news is it now supports Wi-Fi 6E, so you will get faster speeds and better performance on compatible networks. Now let's talk about the cameras. On the back you will get a 12 megapixel wide camera. It's perfectly fine for scanning documents, the occasional photo or AR apps. Nothing groundbreaking here. The real story is the front camera. It's still a 12 megapixel ultra wide with center stage, but now it's finally positioned on the landscape edge. That small change makes video calls feel much more natural, especially when the iPad is on a keyboard. And honestly, that's how most people use it. At least I think so. Battery life has been solid. Apple claims up to 10 hours of use, and I found that to be pretty accurate. Whether I'm watching content, sketching, or doing light editing, I can easily get through a full day. You still get a USB-C port for charging and accessories, but keep in mind that Apple no longer includes a charging brick in the box, though most of us already have one, I think. The M3 iPad Air works with the new Magic Keyboard, which now features a function row and aluminium-like styling for a more MacBook feel. I didn't get one right away because for me a backlit keyboard is a must, and unfortunately this generation doesn't include backlighting. So I will be looking for an alternative that still lets me type in low light. On the plus side, the iPod supports both the Apple Pencil Pro and the USB-C Apple Pencil. I opted for the Pencil Pro, and since it has enough new features to stand on its own, I will be sharing a dedicated video review soon. Right now the iPad Air runs on iPadOS 18, but this fall Apple is releasing iPadOS 26, and that's where it gets really exciting. It introduces a brand new liquid glass design, language with translucent icons and dynamic layers, and for the first time you will get a proper windowing system that feels a lot closer to macOS. That means resizable windows, traffic light controls, and even a swipe down menu bar, making multitasking way more flexible. As soon as iPadOS 26 is out, I will be doing a dedicated video on it. I can't wait to get my fingers on it, to be honest. But that's the future. Now let's see what the iPad Air can actually do today. Up next, field tests. How it handles performance, gaming, creative apps like DaVinci Resolve and Photoshop. And everyday use for sure. First of all, let's start with a benchmark to see how the iPad Air handles heavy processes. For that, I used 3D Mark for iPad and ran the solar bar graphics test. I filmed the screen with my camera so that the recording itself wouldn't affect the result. It ran very smoothly, starting around 50 frames per second and dropping to about 25 in heavier mirror scenes, but still staying fluent. The final score was 11,369 with an average FPS of 43.2, which is impressive for such a slim device. Interestingly, it says my unit performed better than 86% of other iPads. Not sure why, since they should all score about the same, right? If you know, let me know it in the comments down below. Compared to other tablets in general, it scored better than 93%, so performance should be no problem for gaming. So let's put it to the test. First up, Brawl Stars. one of my favorite mobile games. Normally I play it on my iPhone, but on the iPad the details and animations really stand out. Here I'm playing a round of Brawl Ball with BB and everything runs perfectly smooth. The larger screen takes some getting used to, but it's a lot of fun, and yes, we won that round. Next, Asphalt. After the tutorial I jumped straight into a race and was impressed by the graphics and flow. Smooth gameplay, realistic car handling, no lags, definitely a game I will keep installed for future races. Moving on to Limbo, a dark puzzle adventure. The graphics aren't demanding, but it runs flawlessly, and the bigger screen, the atmosphere feels even more immersive. Then Need for Speed. I've been a fan since the first one back centuries ago, and here on the iPad the graphic looks incredibly realistic. Reflections, wet roads, even glass breaking in detail. It's amazing to see its level of quality on a tablet. Finally, Call of Duty Mobile. After the tutorial I jumped into multiplayer, and again the performance was smooth with impressive visuals. I'm personally not a fan of the touchscreen controls, but the frame rate was consistent and I can see it being great once you get used to it. So overall I would say gaming on the iPad Air M3 is excellent. From casual titles to more demanding games, everything ran smoothly, and the larger screen makes it even more enjoyable. And the best part, you can enjoy these controls-like experience on a device that's still thin and lightweight. Alright, that wraps up the gaming section. Now let's move on to video editing with DaVinci Resolve. I will connect my external SSD via USB-C, import an existing project and see how the iPad Air handles real editing work. This was one of my latest videos about the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and its low light capabilities. You can find it here, and everything works as expected. You can scroll through the timeline, playback is smooth, and even color grading runs without a hitch. It definitely feels different from a Mac version, but for editing on the go it's more than usable. For bigger projects I would stick to my MacBook Pro M4 Pro, where export time is about half the video length. Here on the iPad exporting takes a little bit longer than the video itself, which is still not bad for such a slim and lightweight device. So I would call this DaVinci Resolve test definitely a win. Next up, Photoshop Mobile. I'm importing a raw image file from our Japan trip 2 years ago, about 32 megabytes in size. It loads very fast and I can adjust all attributes seamlessly. All the sliders respond in real time, which really surprised me. After adjustments, I can move the photos into Photoshop, move it around and keep editing without any noticeable delay. That's super cool and another successful test, I would say. Okay, all those tests are very nice, but honestly I mainly use the iPad for media consumption most of the time, watching YouTube videos in the evening or sometimes a Netflix series. And this brings me to my next point. Why I've chosen the iPad Air 11-inch M3 over the new iPad Pro 11-inch M4. Let me explain. It was not really about the price, but yeah, in the end it was. More than that, it was a rational decision. What do I mean by that? I think for that we have to compare the two a bit. In short, the Pro is the stronger device, but let's look at where that really shows up. The biggest difference is the display. The Air has a 60Hz liquid retina screen, while the Pro steps up to an OLED panel with ProMotion at 120Hz. That makes everything look smoother, more vibrant and much better for creative work or even just scrolling through apps. In terms of design, both are sleek, but the Pro is a bit thinner and lighter. And while the Air still relies on Touch ID in the power button, the Pro gives you Face ID, which feels more seamless in daily use. This is actually one of my personal downsides with the Air, because I really prefer Face ID over Touch ID. It's just quicker and more convenient, I would say. When it comes to cameras, the iPad Air is okay, but nothing special. On the front you get a 12 megapixel ultra-wide with center stage, I think I've already mentioned that, which is more than enough for video calls. And here is an example of how it looks. Alright, on the back there's a 12 megapixel wide camera that works fine for scanning documents or the occasional snapshot. Here's a quick picture I took, but honestly I wouldn't run around taking photos with a device this big in size. I would just use my iPhone for that. The Pro on the other hand adds a LiDAR scanner, better microphones for speakers and even ProRes video recording, so it's clearly built with professionals in mind. Another big difference is connectivity. The Air has USB-C, which is fine for accessories and external SSDs, but the Pro supports Thunderbolt. That's a big deal if you're moving large files or connecting to an external display, for example. Storage also differs. The Air goes up to 1 terabyte, while the Pro doubles that to 2 terabytes, giving professionals more headroom for massive projects. And finally, the price. The Air starts much lower, making it a great value for most people. The Pro starts around $1,000 and climbs quickly up depending on the configuration and accessories. So if you want the best display, the highest performance and Pro level features, the iPad Pro is the way to go. But honestly, for most people like me, the iPad Air M3 already offers plenty of power, great day-to-day usability and much friendlier price tag. All those additional features on the Pro are really great, but for me personally, they weren't worth the extra cost. The Face ID and the OLED display were the 2 points that really made me struggle with the decision, but in the end the Air won because about 80% of the time I just use it for media consumption and browsing simply the web. So for me the iPad Air M3 11-inch was the smarter choice. Powerful enough for everyday use, great for media and much better value than the Pro. The Pro's extras like Face ID and OLED screen were tempting, but in the end they just weren't worth the extra cost for how I use my iPad. So that's why in the end the iPad Air M3 was a smarter choice for me. Powerful enough, great for media and much better value than the Pro. But that's just my take. What about you? What would be your choice, or what are you using the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment and subscribe. You really support the channel by doing so, because YouTube will recommend the video to others, which helps push it out even more. And if you want to keep watching, here's somewhere another video you might enjoy. Stay healthy, take care, and I will see you in the next one.